Hi everybody and welcome. It's lovely to see you all. So just a reminder that for the second half of the class, lovely Charlotte is going to do a restorative posture with us. So if you can get yourself any pillows, blankets, cushions or bolsters that you've got, she's going to then talk you through a very supported posture with lots of nice padding for you and for me as well. I'm really looking forward to that. And also if you could have a chair handy, that will also be helpful because I'm intending to do something with you from a chair. I'm not actually sure if my class will get that far before I hand over to Charlotte, but we'll see. But it's just useful if you can get that now because it means you're not going to disturb yourself when we start.
Could I also, Fiona, while people are getting props, if anybody's got an eye mask that attaches to the back of your head rather than an eye bag, because we are going to be on the side, then that's a useful thing to have as well.
That's great, Charlotte. And if not, something like a scarf that you can drape over your face, just so you've got something dark will also be handy.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah, that will be great. Thank you. Just a couple of things before we start properly, just a couple of reminders to say that as always, you don't always need to look at your screen because I do know looking at screens can be tiring. So if you want to look away, close your eyes, that's really fine. And the other thing, just to remind you, as always, you don't always have to follow my instructions or Charlotte's instructions when she's running the class. It's about listening to your body, your intuition and your heart, much more important than what I am directing you. So what I'm saying is just a suggestion. So for example, I'm going to ask you now to come to a comfortable sitting position. If you're particularly fatigued and tired and you want to lie down, that's also fine. So really listening to what feels right for you. And the theme of our class in Sanskrit, that's called a bhavana, the bhavana, the focus of our class this evening is going to be around peace. And the word for peace in Sanskrit is shanti. And I think this is really important at the moment because I know there's a lot of agitation and anxiety and fear out there. So this class is all about calming back to ourselves, coming back to our true nature, which is peace. So we're going to be directing ourselves to remember that in the practice. And just to say before we start that peace is something we really need to work at, we need to cultivate. It doesn't necessarily come naturally. It's not something that just happens. So we do have to work at this. A major way for this might be to simplify our lives, for example, to cultivate a quieter, more contemplative life. And if we can, to set time aside once or twice a day, just to be still and to be quiet and to focus on our inner peace. Sorry, I'm just still letting people in. And peace, we say in yoga that the goal is to see the real me, the self that's not affected by fatigue or illness, because it's kind of the real self that's always present, the self that remains, that's not changing. And I'm going to direct you to remember that in the practice. It's the real self that's not disturbed even when events are disturbing. So if you are comfortable now, come to a comfortable sitting position. Just take a moment or two to think about your posture. So you have your head, your neck and your spine in line. You're comfortably balanced over your sit bones. And you have space between the crown of the head and the tailbone. And you might like to think of the head just floating upwards. So you have this feeling of lift from the tailbone, but not strain. It's just a feeling of the body lifting comfortably up, floating upwards. And then if it's okay for you, your eyes are closed. And just see if you can begin to watch for the spaces between the thoughts. And see if you can observe the aliveness of the inner body. And allow the breath to slow down now. And just be aware if you can feel a silence in the background. If you can't, don't worry, don't try to do anything. But it's a feeling of your own presence. So come now into your body, feel your buttocks where they're sitting. Be aware if you're holding any tension in the jaw and let the jaw relax. Although the eyes are closed, let the area around the eyes soften. Release the shoulders. And then just check in with how you're feeling now, emotionally, physically, mentally. So just checking in with your current experience, but without making any judgment on that. So we're not labeling anything as good or bad. We're just observing how we are in this moment. And then just check that you're breathing through the nose from the diaphragm, just to help us to remember how this should be. We're going to take one hand and place it on our heart center. And the other hand, and we're placing it on the belly, just below the belly button. So the hand on the heart is just pacifying that chest area. So the chest and the shoulders are quite still. And we're breathing into the lower hand. But we're not making the breath too deep. It's more a feeling of the breath being low and slow. So the breath is quite gentle. So as we inhale, the hand on the belly just slightly moves up. And as we breathe out, that hand drops back down again. So don't force anything. We're just reminding our body to come out of any hyperventilation pattern. And then take a moment or two just to focus on a long, smooth exhalation. And then leaving the hands where they are, we're going to chant Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So I'll chant and then you chant back to me. So we'll do this as call and response. And of course, if you don't want to chant, that's fine too. Just breathe. So if you inhale as I'm chanting, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And then with the eyes closed, just observe the effect the mantra's had on the whole being. If you like, you can drop your hands to your knees, but just allow yourself to become quiet. Focusing again on the exhalation. And then we're going to bring the hands together to the Namaste Mudra by Anahata Chakra. We're going to do a little breathing practice now. So we're going to breathe in, opening the arms wide. And as we exhale, we're going to hug ourselves, giving ourselves a hug. And then taking a couple of breaths here, because we're hugging ourselves. Again, we're pacifying the chest so we can allow the breath to be a little bit lower down in the belly. And then when we're ready, we're going to inhale, opening the arms wide again. And then we hug ourselves the other way. Again, just letting the breath be a little bit lower down in the belly. And then when you're ready, drop the hands down to the knees. You can open your eyes. And now we're going to come down to lying. So try and keep this sense of peace as you transition. And you have a choice. So you can lie on your back in Shavasana. I always suggest you start with the knees bent. Or you can lie on your bellies, which I know for a few of you is more comfortable. And if you want to remain sitting, that's also fine. And please use cushions or props or whatever you need to make yourself comfortable. So if you want to place something under your knees, please do so. And I do suggest you have a cushion or something under your head, just to help the back of the neck to relax. Just take a moment or two to make yourself really comfortable. So classically, the arms are away from the body with the palms turned up. But if that doesn't feel okay, you can rest the palms on the belly. And if you find it too tiring to have your knees bent, it's fine if you want to bring the knees together. And if you're on your back, just check the back of the neck is long. And then very slowly just roll your head from side to side, feeling of the connection of your head on your support. And see if you can make that movement really, really slow and mindful. I'm working with you if you need to look up, but for most of you, it's fine to work with your eyes closed, just listening to my voice. And then we're going to center our head, keeping that neck long. You might like to just look up at your belly button to check you're straight. You might even like to lift the tailbone just to stretch it down slightly away from the shoulders. You might like to wiggle the shoulders away from your ears. And then just become aware of the right shoulder blade. See if you can feel into the tip of the shoulder blade, a bit like your wingtip. And then just slightly rotate that wingtip. You might help you just to take the elbow out slightly to the side. We're just releasing that right shoulder by making some circles on the right. And then we release. You might like to just slightly bend the left elbow. And then we're just going to take some slight rotations through the left shoulder blade. Very subtle movement. And then relax the left shoulder blade, and then just draw the tips of both shoulder blades down to the tailbone and release. And then take a moment or two just to make your shoulders and your neck comfortable. And then become aware of your back and the connection it's making with your support. If you're on your front, be aware of your front. Visualize your body like a cylinder. See if you can breathe into your back. And as we did from sitting, breathing through the nose from the diaphragm. And if it helps you, you might like to take the hands and place them on the belly with the middle fingers touching. And then as you inhale, those middle fingers slightly come apart. As you exhale, the middle fingers come back together. So it's a very subtle movement of the belly. Chest is still, or as still as it can be. And then just focusing on the exhalation. And then you can either leave the hands on the belly or you can release the hands back to the side with the palms turned up. And then providing you don't have back issues, you might like to slide out one leg, then the other to come into the full relaxation posture. Have the heels apart, arms away from the body, and just enjoy being in this open posture, feeling very safe and grounded in your body. Become aware of the mind and see if you can begin to observe the quality of peace in the mind. The space after the exhalation, slight pause after the exhalation before the in-breath comes in again. The spaces between the thoughts. And then we're going to get ready to do some very gentle movement, remembering everything's always a choice. So if you'd like to do some movement, bring the feet together now, or you can have your knees bent if that's more comfortable for your back. Breathing in, we're going to stretch our arms or lift our arms up towards the ceiling, palms facing each other. If you're not sure, just look up at your screen. So I'll demonstrate first, and I'll do this once with you, and then you do it a few times in your own breathing rhythm. So I'm going to breathe in, pointing my fingers up to the ceiling. As I breathe out, I'm going to chant my arms apart like a cross, like this. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And then I breathe in as the palms come back towards each other. So when you're ready, join in with me. Breathe in. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Inhale, arms come up, palms towards each other. Once more, chant the arms apart. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Breathe in, palms come up towards each other. Continue in your own breathing rhythm. Once or twice more if you want, or rest out if you would rather. And if you don't want to chant, just breathe. So finish the one you're on, take one more if you would like to, and then take yourself back into Shavasana, the relaxation posture, when you've finished. And again, just take time to observe your inner peace, your own presence, that part of you which never changes, which was the same yesterday, last week, or even years ago, that part of you which remains. Just see if you can observe that behind the thoughts, the real authentic you, which is always peaceful, whatever is happening around you. Just begin to observe and make your connection with that. This is your own true nature. And then please get ready for a lying twist. So if you like to bend your knees, having your feet hip width apart, heels coming into the buttocks, and take your arms out like a cross, just below your shoulder level, so you're not straining your shoulders. We're going to work with the breath as always. So take an inhalation, keeping the shoulders aligned on the mat. As you exhale, take the knees over towards the left. If they can't touch the floor, just take them as far down as is comfortable. Roll the head to look over the right shoulder. Just take one breath here. Inhale, exhale. And then inhale, center the knees, center the head. Exhale, take the knees down to the right. Maybe they touch the floor, maybe they don't. Shoulders aligned on the mat. Rolling the head now to look over the left shoulder. And then take one resting breath here. Inhaling, exhaling. And then inhaling, centering the knees, centering the head. Exhaling, knees come down to the left, head rolls to the right, shoulders aligned on the mat. And then take two resting breaths on this side, really allowing yourself to go deeper into the posture on each exhalation. When you've taken your two breaths, come back to center on an inhalation, and then twisting to the other side and taking two breaths on the other side. If you want to work more gently, I suggest you keep your feet on the mat. And then when you finish, center yourself, and to counter pose, just hug the knees into the chest and rock out the spine from side to side. Then we're going to work into a lying tree. So just make sure that you've got some space behind you to stretch your arms behind you. And remember to modify if you've got shoulder problems at all. So we'll work together. I'll talk you through this. So come down into lying with the legs out straight, feet together. We're just going to take the arms out like a cross, and we're going to bend the left knee. And then, providing you're not too tired, you can make the right toes active by flexing the right foot. I am working with you if you need to look up at your screen. And then we're going to take that left knee out to the side. So the left foot comes down towards the right knee. And if you want to place padding or anything under that left knee, if it doesn't go all the way down or the hip is too tight, just place a cushion underneath if you need to. And then just take a moment or two to center yourself. And then, providing you don't have shoulder problems, we're going to draw our fingernails along our floor as we rotate through the shoulders to bring the hands together to the Namaste Mudra above our head. And if that's too strong for you, you can place the hands just to the crown of the head. So you've got this choice of either stretching up through the fingers or resting the palms on the crown of the head. And then just feel yourself opening from the sole of the right foot into the fingertips. Just feeling that chest, rib cage opening, feeling the diaphragm free. Close the eyes and just take a few resting breaths here. And then breathing in, we're going to lift the hands to the Namaste Mudra over the heart chakra. And just take some time to let yourself be quiet again, just feeling that piece of your own true nature, the authentic you that lies behind the chatter of the ever-changing thoughts. You might like to perhaps contemplate that your thoughts can't be real, they can't be that important because they're always changing. You might even like to ask the question, who am I? Am I my thoughts? Or am I this piece which is always here? And then when you're ready, relax your arms down, palms turned up. Release that right foot, bend the left knee up, and then slide that left leg back down. And then just take some resting breaths in Shavasana, observing whether the right side feels different from the left, but not as a comparison or judgment, just as a observation, just being curious about how does the body feel now? How does the mind feel now? How's my energy? How are my emotions? And then if you would like, we'll take that to the other side. So if you like to straighten that left leg now, bend the right leg, and you might like to make the left toes active, providing you have the energy. And then open the right knee out to the side, just as we did on the other side. And again, if you want to place padding or support there, you can do. Take the arms out to the side like a cross. And then breathing in, working through the shoulders, running the fingernails along. Bring the palms together to Namaste, either opening above the head or resting the palms on the crown. So you have this choice. And if you're not sure, you can look up And again, just feel yourself opening and lengthening from the fingertips down to the sole of the left foot, feeling the rib cage open, feel the body open, the front body open. And just breathing slowly and rhythmically through the nose from the diaphragm. And then breathing in, bring the palms to Namaste over the heart chakra, Anahata chakra. Again, close the eyes, just connect with yourself. And as you're lying like this, you might like to reflect on what interferes day to day with my peace. And what brings me peace? What can I bring more of into my life that brings me peace? And just feel into the inner body, becoming aware of stillness, even though they might be sounds or thoughts. And then relaxing from the posture, so arms come back beside the body with the palms turned up. Relax that left foot, breathing in, lift up the right knee, and then lengthen the right leg along the mat. Bringing yourself back into Shavasana. And I'm going to hand over to Charlotte now, and then she'll hand back to me at the end of the practice. So you just continue lying down where you are, and Charlotte will direct you. You might need to unmute yourself, Charlotte.
Thank you, Fiona. That was heavenly for me. So you can stay where you are, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of an introduction about restorative yoga. I was quite unwell myself with chronic fatigue syndrome, housebound, almost completely for about 2 years, and then you know what it's like. There were several years where I was in and out of the house. And the theme of peace is a lovely one, because for me, one of the places I found peace in my recovery, and one of the places I find peace now to keep me well, is in restorative yoga. One of the places I lose my peace is with social media. And what I used to find is I would go to bed to rest, and I'd find I was scrolling and scrolling. And so practicing restorative postures, which is where you use props to support the body for longer periods of time, meant I had lovely deep rest, and it meant I wasn't tempted to start scrolling, and I felt like I was doing something. So I'm going to guide you now into side lying Shavasana, which is one of the most relaxing restorative postures there is. And you can do it with props from around your house. A lot of the restorative postures require specific yoga props, but this one doesn't. So I'm hoping you've all got blankets and pillows and things nearby. So I'm going to set up really slowly, and you can assess with what you've got and see what makes the most sense. I'm going to support the two most important things first, and then if you run out of props, you're very welcome to stay just there. But if you've got lots of props, you can keep going with me. So traditionally, typically, side lying Shavasana is practiced on the left-hand side. Now, if you've got any problems with your left hip or left shoulder, obviously practice it on the right. And the first thing you want to do is make sure that the surface you're laying on is soft. Now I'm on a hard wooden floor here, so I've got 2 mats and I've put a blanket on top. If you're on carpet, you may not need to do that. If you're in your bed, you may not need to do that. But that's the first thing, just to make sure that you've got some softness underneath you. The next thing, Fiona, I'm just going to mute you because your blankets are rustling. Is that okay?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know I was unmuted.
Yeah. So
I'll mute myself, sorry.
Yeah, then you can unmute yourself when you need to. The next thing is we're going to support the side of the head. So you can use pillows, cushions, blankets. I am going to show you the amount that I need. I've got quite wide shoulders. So if you can have a look at your screens, when I come down, what I've got here is a thin pillow and then a blanket folded on top. And I'm hoping that you can see that my head is in line with the center of my body. If I don't have enough support, you can see that my head's tilting down, and that's going to give me a crook in my neck. If I have too much support there, then you can see that my head is crooking up the other way. So there's a little bit of trial and error of just making sure that that support, which is going to be pulled in nice and tight to your shoulder, means your head is in the center of alignment. You okay, Emma? Yeah. I'm thinking just by looking at you, Emma, your head looks a little bit tilted up. So I don't know whether you could possibly have something slightly lower under your head. Yeah. That looks better to me. Does that feel okay? Fantastic. Good stuff. Good stuff. So that's our head supported. The second thing that we want to support is between our legs. So you could use 2 blankets folded up long ways like this, which you could place between your knees as you come down. If you haven't got those blankets, you could use a pillow from your bed. And it's just about supporting between your knees and your ankles. If you've got any issues with your lower back or sciatica problems, then it's worth aiming to make sure that your knees and ankles are about the same distance apart. So that might mean adding an extra little prop lower down between your ankle. So that's the head supported and the leg supported. We're on the left-hand side of the body. Now, if that's all the props you've got, then you can absolutely rest there. But I'm going to show you some further additions, because the more parts of the body that we gently support with these props, the more we can drop into a deep state of relaxation. So what can be nice if you've got another pillow or even a yoga bolster? I think some of you have got yoga bolsters, so I'll show you with that. We're going to place that behind the body, and we're not going to lean on that, but it's just for a sense of support at the back of the body. You're okay, Emma. You're not muted at the minute. Do you want to ask a question?
Sorry, no, I'm so sorry. It's just I've got my phone. It keeps falling over.
Oh no.
I'm really sorry if I'm moving a lot, because it's so annoying.
Don't worry. Do you want me to mute you?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So we've got our head support, the support between our knees, and the support at the back of our body. We do need to make sure that we've got a blanket to pull up over ourselves unless we are somewhere warm and sunny like Fiona. We want to make sure we've got a mask or a scarf to cover the eyes. And then if you've still got props, there's one additional thing we can do. So I'll just talk you through each of the stages again. You're on the left-hand side with that support under the head. You've got the support between the knees and the ankles. So the legs are bent as if you're sitting on a chair. You've got that support pulled into your back. And as you come down onto the left-hand side, you're just going to lift up and pull that left arm out. So you are not crunching into the shoulder. You have a pillow here. It can be nice to hug that into the body. That sense of comfort and support. A bit like you might have hugged a favourite teddy when you were younger. And if you still have any more props, it can be nice to just support the back of the left hand. So what we're looking for here is just to create a tiny bit of flexion in the left hand. All these tiny little things just help to soothe and calm the nervous system. And then when all that's settled, pulling a blanket up over yourself. And I know there's a lot to set up here. That's why once you're supported and you're comfortable, you stay for time. So when you're settled in all those areas, if you feel good, pull down your eye mask if you're using one. Place a scarf, something over your eyes. And just begin to relax into the props. I'm just going to come and check and see how you're doing. So the key things with restorative yoga is that we are comfortable, we are warm, and that it's dark, whether that's practicing in a darker space or as we are today, covering up the eyes or closing the eyelids. And with each exhale, just relaxing further into that support. Allowing the props to support you. And what you'll likely find as time goes on is you can relax just a little bit more. Remembering with all restorative postures, comfort is the key. If at any point you feel uncomfortable, just give it a moment. And if it doesn't pass, come out and make any adjustments so that you can be comfortable where you are. I often find in my practice there's a little bit of wriggling across the first few minutes as I just get really settled. And you may slip very happily to rest, relaxation. You may find the mind becomes a little busy. Sometimes that's the case. If it is, you can just focus on the parts of your body in contact with the ground. We can focus on the breath if that's appropriate for you. I'm going to leave you to rest now in the silence. I'm here holding space, and I'll bring you back shortly. very, very slowly, just start to draw your awareness back. Just be aware of the space that you're laying in. Just notice how you're feeling. And perhaps inviting some deeper breaths into the body. In a moment, we're going to begin to let a little bit of light back in. So what I'm going to invite you to do is to bring your top arm up to your eyes and just slowly remove the eye cover. Perhaps then cup the hand over the eyes and then blink your eyes open to the palm of your hand. So just letting that light back in really slowly. Really soothing to the nervous system. Taking your time here, there's no rush. And when you're ready, taking that hand back down, allowing the eyes to be open and just refocus. We're going to remove the prop that you're cuddling, if you are cuddling, and just push that over to one side. And then reaching your hand down and pushing out whatever support you've got between the legs. And using the arms and hands as you gently roll yourself forward and up to a comfortable sitting position. If you're coming up to sit today, if you'd rather stay laying down, you stay where you are. Coming up and just sitting with the eyes closed or a soft gaze. Just allow your body and your nervous system to get used to being in a different position. Thank you for practicing restorative with me today. I'm going to hand back over to Fiona now.
Can you hear me all right? Yeah, that was absolutely delicious. I love that. So thank you so much, Charlotte. You've got the most beautiful voice. I don't know, I'm sure we all had our individual experience. I particularly love the feeling of the cushion at the back of me. And I think, you know, one of the things about yoga is we always know that we can come and lie down, but we don't. But when we're together, even though we're in this virtual Zoom space, and, you know, it was for quite some time, there was a feeling I felt of us all being connected and lying together, which I thought made it really special. And I certainly went into a really deep place, so thank you. So if you all like to now just come to a comfortable sitting position and have your eyes closed. And I'd just like you to connect again with that sensation, that feeling of peace that you have when the mind becomes quiet. And again, just focusing on the stillness, remembering that this is who you are. This peace is always here. And that whatever is happening in your world, you can always come back to this. It's always available to you. And when you come back to this, it helps you to be peaceful even when things are disturbing around you. So we're going to close with the chants now. We'll chant together. So if you like to take your hands to Namaste. And we'll chant Om Shanti 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 together. So when you're ready, take a deep inhalation. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. When you're ready, open your eyes. Thank you all so much for being here, especially thank you to Charlotte. Namaste, meaning the divine in me greets the divine that's in you. So thank you. I did actually record that. So I'm just checking where the record button's gone. There it is. I'm going to pause it now.